So in a moment, you're going to make the single most important decision you will ever make to the sustainability of your very own, very successful business. Please listen carefully. How many of you agree that I know what I'm doing up here? Whew. Thank you. And I owe a lot of success to my mentors. As I've mentioned before, I've worked with some of the best individuals in the training industry. I personally mentored with T. Harv Eker. How many of you have heard of him? Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, New York Times best-selling author, multi-millionaire, teaches all over the world. I have a good story about Harv. I was his assistant for quite some time, and I used to just learn from him like a sponge and just follow him around and bring him his meals and sit with him after, and it was a really amazing experience for me. One time I had to go and bring him breakfast, and I was really nervous because he was at that time holding a lot of chi, like a lot of energy. He was a big player. He still is, but for me I hadn't really grown into my luminariness at the time, so I really looked up to him, and I was very nervous when I interacted with him a lot. I loved him. He's got a really beautiful heart, especially as you get closer to him. He's just a really sweet person and cares so deeply and so much for the people he's helping. But anyway, when he got his book out, I got one of his books, and I was kind of doing a little pep talk for myself, and I'm like, okay, I want to get him to sign my book. And I had his breakfast and his book, and I was like, oh God, okay. I'm just going to ask him. I'm not going to be a dork about it. I'm just going to ask him to sign my book. So up I go, knock on the door, and he opens the door, and he's in his underwear. And I'm like, oh, shit. He's like, come on in. Just leaves the door open, and I'm like, okay. So I come in, and I put the plate down on the table, and I'm standing there, and I'm like such a nerd, right? And he's sitting, and he wears boxers, in case you're, just for the camera, he wears boxers. He's sitting on the couch. It was in California, so it was hot. He's sitting on the couch, no shirt, and boxers. And I'm just like, oh, man. And then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if he signed my book in his underwear? Like, I could tell that story from stage one day. So sure enough, I had the Jiffy marker and everything, and I'm like, he goes, what you got there? I go, I have your book, but I'll just leave it on the table. If you wouldn't mind signing it at some point, that would be really great. He goes, no, bring it over right now. So over I go with the marker, and I'm like trying not to look, but also looking. Give it to him, and he signs this beautiful message for me and gives it back. And I was like, okay, thanks, see you later. And I was like, yeah. I got outside. So anyway, he signed my book in his underwear. Not very many people can say that.